But that famous voice comes on and tells us and warns us. So Jim, why don't you just introduce yourself? Who are you, and you a little bit about your job right now, and maybe how you got there, just to start us off.
Okay. Name is Jen Masuda. It's actually Jennifer Masuda. I usually just go by Jen Masuda. I am the executive director here at UI Kai Japanese American Senior Center here in San Jose, Japantown.
Hmm.
Um, I found out about UI Kai. I didn't know about Japantown actually in San Jose at all. And it came about because um my grandmother, who lived in San Mateo on the peninsula, she was diagnosed with Alzheimer's dementia,
Hmm.
and she came to live with me. And she was just sitting at home watching TV, and a relative of mine had said, "Hey, there's this place called UI Kai. It's a senior center, and grandma probably would be able to benefit from their activities and their offerings." So, and that's how I discovered UI Kai.
Wow, that's shows how outreach can work, huh? Not only
Yes.
did they get your mother as a somebody to UIK can work with, they got an executive director out of it too. That's pretty.
Yeah, yeah. So, and I guess that was a little unusual. It was actually my grandmother, not my
Oh,
mother.
yeah, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah. Yeah, it was my
Mhm.
grandmother. So, um, that I think most it's usually the children of the person with dementia who usually becomes the primary caregiver.
Mhm.
But in this particular case, my grandmother, she was 88 at the time, when I
Mhm.
was asked or propositioned for this, to care for her. And the reason why I ended up with her is, maybe this is a Japanese thing, a cultural thing, but she had three sons. And I'm also the oldest grandchild, but I'm also the first girl, I
Mhm.
guess. So it kind of fell on me. I think my father actually, though, would have been happy to care for his mother. But I think he was located in Los Angeles, and my mother and my grandmother necessarily didn't get along the best. And so my grandmother actually had voiced, um, and said that she actually wanted to live with me.
Oh, I see.
So, plus I worked in sales, and although my headquarters was in Orange County down in Southern California, I did work at a home office here in San Jose. And I was also new to San Jose as well, as I moved to the area in 2004.
Mm. So how long have you been at UIK now?
Um, what is it? 20, no, I mean, so 13 years?
Wow. Okay.
13 years. So,
Long time.
but my grandmother started at UIK in 2009. So I'll explain all these dates
Yeah.
and how they fall into place. Um, I don't know if that was with the next question or not.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah.
Oh, it's okay. This is free flow. Okay. So my grandma came to UIK, and then I was approached by the wellness nurse at the time. So this was 2009.
Hmm.
Um, and just so you know, when I moved up here in 2004, I had met someone. I had met my spouse, or now an ex-spouse, but that's the whole reason for my move to come to San Jose.
Hmm.
And so I came up in 2004, and I worked from home. So just imagine, day in, day out, you're new to an area and you work from home. You really don't meet anybody, you know. So I got myself a dog, which for company, which I think most people do. But but yeah, I really didn't create any kind of real friendships or connections. Luckily, I do have family up in the area, so that did help with me
Hmm.
for
Hmm.
social needs. But yeah, so my grandmother came and lived with me and my husband at the time, 2009. And so we started, I took her to UI Kai, and then I was approached by the wellness nurse and to join the support group. It's a caregiver support group, and so this group helped me immensely in caring for someone with dementia. It's a very high stress kind of situation, and I had no idea really what I was signing up for. You know, it sounds kind of cruel, you know, when I think about it, but you know, at the time she was 88 years old, and I was really thinking like, well, how much longer, or like how long would I have to do this? It might only be a few years. And so I thought this is totally doable. And little did I know that she was going to actually live 10 more years. And she declined during that time. So to the point where she ended up needing so much care that I ended up having to leave my job, which my career. I was an associate publisher for a corporate magazine company. So that ended my career pretty much right then and there. And especially with my age, you know, and if you think about that, 10 years later, you know, would put me in my 50s. And who wants that, you know, I mean, part of it, and to be realistic, is to think about how viable am I in my career in my 50s to someone. So that was a huge concern for me. And I also ended up getting sick myself. I ended up in 2014, 2000, I didn't know, I'm sorry, 2015, I ended up being diagnosed with cancer.
Oh my.
And so I went through treatment for a year.
Wow.
So that kind of put things to a sharp halt. And you know, my grandmother was still alive. I mean, and to that point I was just like, oh my gosh, she might outlive me.
Oh my.
So, you know, and they say,
Um,
you know, it was like they talk about that in caregiver support group, that due to the stress that most caregivers do themselves, end up becoming ill. And so yeah, it became like one of those statistics. And yeah, it had a profound effect on me for sure.
wow. That's a
It's crazy, right?
yeah. I don't. Wow. What a
Yeah.
story.
So, and in 2011, so here I am, UI Kai had actually needed a substitute driver. So now it's 2011. They had said like, hey, you know, we heard you're not working anymore. But you know, your grandma comes to daycare. Would you consider substitute driving? And I was just like, you know, the organization of the services that they're providing to my grandmother was excellent. Very like, what a warm and caring place. It gave me the freedom to really rest and spend my time, like to shop, because they're taking care of her. I didn't have to worry about it. They were also providing me with a caregiver support group at no charge. And so I was just like, absolutely, I can sub drive for you. So so I was a sub driver for a while, and then actually to be honest, sometimes I'm called upon now to sub drive if we're really shorthanded.
Yeah.
But also probably a short while after that, I was approached to become an attendant. So that means like for rentals, we UI Kai rents out rooms to help offset their expenses. So this gives us a little bit of income.
Mhm.
but they need somebody to open and close the buildings, and so I became an attendant. So I used to work at Akiyama Wellness Center during the afternoons, and then on Monday evenings here at UI Kai. So it actually gave me a chance to become familiar, not with just the front desk services that they provide, but also the activities that they were providing. And I
Mhm.
got to meet the members as well. So that was kind of nice. And I think shortly after that, they asked me to become the receptionist on Thursdays. So I was sharing 3 type of positions with UIKI at that time. So I was a receptionist on Thursdays, which was actually really wonderful because I got to meet a lot of the members
Mhm.
and other people within the community.
Then,
That's oh, that's nice. That's
yeah.
like
Yeah.
everything you mentioned is like wonderful. So Jen, I know you mentioned a little bit like in the beginning of the interview, but what was it like growing up during the time and place of your childhood? I know you mentioned you were born in San Mateo.
Actually,
Or
I was actually born in San Francisco.
Oh,
oh, okay.
I was born in San Francisco. And then let's see, but my parents, we moved to Foster City. And Foster City was not what it looks like today. It was just a bunch of dirt
Oh,
back then. And you know that city's actually landfill, and you know it was a very controversial at the time because everybody was saying um it's gonna sink in an earthquake.
oh,
But anyway, my parents took a chance, you know, they bought a townhome out there, and so I ended up going living in Foster City. And I went to Audubon Elementary School there in Foster City, and up until 5th grade.
okay, great.
So in my time, I think your question was how was it growing up there? And you know, honestly, when I look back at that time, it was actually difficult. I definitely had an identity crisis.
Mhm.
You know, at the time, I don't think I realized it. And what I mean by that is back then, in Foster City, there were very few Japanese Americans or Japanese people. And to kind of give you some perspective, you know, like when you're a kid, you just hang out with other kids, right? You do see that some kids are Asian, but I didn't even know like the difference between Japanese, Chinese, Korean, Vietnamese. And so I couldn't even identify other Asians in my school, or class. Like what were they? I just assumed that they were like me. And I knew I was Japanese, but I didn't know what that meant. Um, and then the rest of the kids that I went to school with were white. And but majority of them were Jewish. And the thing that I learned, I probably maybe about like 3rd grade, I started discovering more differences, you know, that they were Jewish, but all my friends were Jewish. And I remember going to the grocery store with the Japanese grocery store, Takahashi's, which is still there today in San Mateo. And my grandparents knew the owners because they used to own the Japanese restaurant, kitty corner to that market. They used to own a Japanese restaurant, Fuji Sukiyaki, way back in the day. It was like the only Japanese restaurant here in San Mateo. And they also had Saimin, which was from Hawaii, because my parents are both grew up in Hawaii. But the owner at that time had asked if I was Hapa, which means are you half Japanese, half white, or half something else? And I didn't really even know what Hapa meant. And I replied saying, I'm Jewish. And my grandmother had a cow. My grandma was very like, oh my gosh, what are you talking about? And it was very interesting because following that remark, next thing you know, my parents were dragging my sister and I to the Japanese American Sturge Presbyterian Church. So that way I could meet other Japanese people. But that didn't mean that I learned what being Japanese was or Japanese American. Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, really.
And but I did, you know, and the people at the church, we weren't a religious family, so it just felt very strange. It felt like a strange place to me. And the other thing that was strange to me was just like, wow, there's a lot of Asian people at this place. And you know, they had a different they're different. They're just different, you know.
Yeah. I'm sorry, that this church was it in Foster City or is it?
I'm sorry, it's in San Mateo.
Oh, San Mateo.
Yeah, Sturge Presbyterian.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
the people are very nice, right? Very nice people. But yeah, I just felt like I was on a different planet. You know? Yeah. And I think a lot of it is the lack of connection. I just didn't feel tied to them at all.
So Andrew, did you want to take the next question?
Yes. I heard you said something like negative stuff about Foster City, but I think you spent your childhood there. So like, how was your childhood there, and did you feel connected to any places in Foster City?
Yeah, when I look back on it,
Yeah.
no.
No.
You know, I had like a couple friends, but like it wasn't like, you know, you read stories or you know people who maybe were friends from when they're like in kindergarten or elementary school, and
Yeah.
I just don't have that. I have a lot of like acquaintances.
I see.
You know, and you know, I'm not saying that if I went to school with a bunch of other Japanese Americans, would it have been different? I really don't know. There was maybe just a handful of us. Not in my grade. They're actually younger than me, so maybe like a grade younger than me. But I knew of their families, but I didn't know them. And but one of them actually, the aunt, one of the students, Stephanie, she was my neighbor, or kind of like around the block, and her aunt actually is here at UICai, who teaches the class, who knew me when I was in elementary school, which is kind of amazing. I was like, oh my gosh, didn't you know? But that was probably the closest like Japanese American like relations from that neighborhood. But yeah, you know, but like I remember my parents signing me up for like a sports league, like softball, and yeah, I didn't feel like I belonged.
So Allison, did you wanted to ask the next question?
Yeah. So Jen, would you please tell us about like your teenage years and what was it like to navigate that period?
Yeah.
Like,
I'm sorry.
I was like, I know, like you said, you had like trouble feeling a sense of belonging. Were there like any particular groups that you identified with and like you connected and developed your identity?
Yeah. So something major happened after 5th grade. At the end of my school year in 5th grade, my dad worked for the airlines, and we got word that we're getting transferred to Hawaii, to Honolulu, Hawaii, and that's where both my parents grew up, where they were from. And every year since I was born, so before I was even 1, every summer I would go back to Hawaii for 3 months out of every year. Now everybody's like, oh my gosh, you went to Hawaii, but you know, it's like hanging out with your cousins and your family. And you know, when I look back at that, those were probably my happiest times back then. You know, and you know, part of it it's their family, right? So you kind of maybe have a common thread amongst you, like how you grew up or how the expectations and a lot of the values that maybe that you share. You know, we were kind of all in it together. So my cousins and I, we remain close to this day, but a lot of it, I think, is because of that this time that we had when we were younger together. But that's probably the most free, or that I am the feeling of belonging that I felt as a youngster. So yeah, that was we moved in 1978. I'm dating myself right now.
Mm,
So, but yeah, so we moved to Hawaii. So imagine this. Now I've moved from an area that was predominantly white and Jewish, right? And then I got dropped into now an area rich in AAPI, Asian American Pacific Islander type cultural things and identities, and another very different way of being. You know, my cousins were there, so I still had this sense of belonging. But again, this is through this is family, not friendships, right? But wow, all of a sudden I'm dropped into an area where I am now the majority, because everybody else in my class were Japanese American or Asian, and maybe there were, one white kid, one Caucasian kid. And, and I kind of actually felt for that Caucasian kid, like, wow, they're like a fish out of water. And to see the difference was I wasn't accepted right away by the other kids. A lot of it was because of the way I spoke, which is English, and because they speak pidgin English there. And so there's, there was like these little nuances there, like, oh, you're different.
mm,
But I did notice I was accepted a lot quicker than I was than my classmate who was white.
So I think, Andrew, you had another question, and if I got this right, um, about this transition period. So
Yeah.
do you want to?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I have a question about how you transition and how easy was it to transition from being a teenager to an adult in like the communities you were part of, like when you were growing up in Foster City, and also like you should mention, I think, yeah,
Mhm.
I would also like to know like what changed and like what stayed the same, like mainly those, yeah.
So I think it comes back to family. That's the one thing that stays constant in your life, right? You can't
Mhm.
change that.
Mhm.
And that became very key, I think, for me, because we ended up moving a lot. So I would say the next major thing is I went to school. I went to a college prep school in Hawaii and in Honolulu. And yeah, so that's where I think I became more comfortable with myself in terms of, okay, I'm starting to now learn the differences between, like, I am Japanese. I know what are Chinese names or Korean names. I'm starting to notice differences culturally, but in Hawaii, it's really nice because I think they call it a melting pot, and it's a blending of cultures. And the thing that's nice is the kids there, local kids there, you're very accepting of one another's cultures, and enjoy each other's cultures.
Mm.
Like the food and the people, and they make fun of each other in the most, like, probably politically incorrect way. Probably will be considered here very not PC, but there it's like their sense of humor. There's a little bit of truth to everything, but everybody gets along and can laugh about it. Yeah, I think you have to develop this like sense of humor to live in Hawaii, or you cannot survive. If you're too serious about anything, I think you end up becoming it's very hard to get along there. Yeah.
Yeah. And now, Allison, you had a question about UI Kai, but Jen already kind of explained part of it, except for the big, maybe what do you want to ask about her UI Kai career?
Yeah, I was just like I was actually thinking like how to word it differently, but I know you said you were a driver in the beginning.
Mhm.
Do you feel like did you know much about San Jose Japantown before you decided to become a center's executive director?
A little bit. So for driving, I mean, so growing up in Hawaii, my mother's parents owned a flower shop. So as kids, as soon as we could drive, we were put to work. We had to deliver flowers.
Wow.
And so actually since being kids, we've always worked. Be it we have greenhouses, hot houses on the property. So we had to take care of the plants. We had to run basically we learned how to run a business. We didn't know it at the time, but I think we all learned how to hustle, what you had to do to present your business in the best way, how to deal with the public. And so these things were preparing us for the future, my cousins and I, and so those are things that I think that help. Definitely help. But and then also the positions that I held previous to becoming the director, because after I had finished my cancer treatments, I ended up taking a position as the Akiyama Wellness Center, which belongs to UIKI. They have another building, and I became the facility and activity manager there. So it gave me an opportunity to kind of practice being like a mini ED, right? Because I was managing this other site on my own, and with the guidance of the executive director of UIKI. So I think that really helped prepare me. But just to kind of add, when I started at UIKI as a sub driver, I would have never imagined ever in my wildest dreams that I'd be the executive director of this place. Just so you know.
Yes.
Yeah. And I had another question about like UI like you're executive director right now, and like how is working there, like how's the work ethic like, and like how does it compare to your previous job as a sub driver? And yeah, I'd like to know more about it.
Yeah. Yeah, as I was kind of joking about it earlier today, sub driving, yeah, it's a job. I enjoyed it. I love driving. But after a couple weeks, it gets boring because it's the same routine day in, day out. So it depends, there's people who enjoy that. But I think for me, I kind of enjoy a little bit more of a challenge, and I do like, socializing with other people and engaging with people and connecting. And when you are a driver, you really only have blips of time with people, and you really don't get to really create a real relationship with people. You get to kind of know them, but it's really just kind of, hey, how are you doing today? Do you need help with anything? But that's about it. So work ethic though, I think I've had that since I was young. My grandmother would say, we used to kind of joke saying, you guys have kids so we could provide free labor, and she's like, and it wasn't that at all, you realize that later on in life that they're actually preparing you for real life, but also helping and contributing, to the greater picture of what we were doing, and I put food on the table and paid for our school, and yeah.
So, could you like talk about like the Japantown community you are now a part of and the process you went through to develop the sense of belonging to it?
Yeah, so that I have to say has been I guess a silver lining, from having this position, or just joining UI Kai. I would say just joining UI Kai, getting to meet the people of this community, and then to meet community organizations within the community and members of those community organizations, like including Tom here. I just feel so grateful to have this opportunity to meet all these other people. And it's the people and in this community that makes this job so awesome. I have to say it's probably my favorite part of this job, is to be able to interact and to meet and connect with these other people. And it's kind of really created a mind shift for me. I think leading and working as a director of UI Kai, first and foremost, is my responsibility to keep UI Kai going. We're like the largest employer here in Japantown, I believe. And that's my job. I have to take care of all these people and the people within this building, but also the people who come to this building, the services that we're providing. It is very important. But I have to say, now, the mind shift that has happened for me is to think on a grander scale. I mean, UI Kai is UI Kai, but UI Kai is a part of this bigger entity, right? This community. It's only a part in this community. So you have all these other community partners. And it's when you work with these other community partners, so you create these partnerships, right? I mean, you can talk partner, but you also have to walk the talk. So you actually have to truly partner with them in a very authentic way. And I think my mindset is, if we as a community, if all the organizations are strong, and stable, that makes this community strong and stable.
Yeah.
Right.
I like that. I like the perspective of that, of what you just said. Yeah. And is there any particular space or place in Japantown you feel connected to? Just like you feel like relaxed, or anything, like you like to hang out?
Well, I think everybody hangs out at Roy's, which is a coffee shop. Right. I think it's like the natural community watering hole, right? That people go to. But this community has grown and changed over time. My father had gone to San Jose State University, and he when he came down to visit me in this area, he was amazed at the changes that he has seen, and for the better. And but that's the thing that I think this community sees, right? Like, they've seen it change over time, and they know the history of this area. And it's getting better and better. But we see that it's not just one person making it happen. We have to do it all together.
And has your experience in Japantown had an impact on how you now view your own identity?
Oh yeah, yes. I don't know if it's a thing of aging or not, but it's and a lot of it is, I think, because you meet the people within this community, and so these are the people that you end up spending your time with. I have a home in San Francisco, but that's quite a commute. So I did purchase a place here in San Jose too, which enables me to stay in the vicinity and makes it more convenient. And I actually love that I have a place down here, because then it enables me to participate more in a lot of the events, community events that are happening on the weekend. Because without it, I'd have to really give it some thought. Do I want to drive all the way back?
Mm.
So that it does make a difference. So the community is worth driving back for, though.
Yeah. Yeah, since you have worked like 13 years and you have seen lots of changes, and like what is like the change that impacted Japantown the most? And also was COVID like, yeah, was COVID a part of it? And yeah, yes.
So, okay, so when I was asked to become the ED, the
Yeah.
executive director here, you know, you're talking about identity also. There's a lot of
Yeah.
changes going on in my own personal life. So I don't actually have a spouse any longer. You know, I'd like to share this with you. So at 50 years old, I've decided that you know, that I had to be honest with myself and come out as gay, which is a long time, I think, to you know, I think everybody else knew except, you know, I never said. But during that time, and then also, so I took this job. I also had a partner. I have a partner. This partner, though, we've known each other since we're 12 years old. We went to school together. So this new relationship, I moved to San Francisco, and then I've also took this job as ED. And then I learned that my dad had a brain tumor. You know, and then right after that, the pandemic started. So these were a lot of major changes that like took place in my life all at one time. But you know, I look at that and think about what other challenge could be thrown my way. You know, that's a lot to deal with. It's a lot to deal with at one time. And, you know, when the pandemic started, I was just like, oh my gosh, what else could happen? Because it was all a lot at one time. So, but the lesson that I learned from that is that I can survive and I'm resilient, you know. But I think people are in general, but a lot of it too is to major change, not just for me, but everybody in the world, was the pandemic. And that the difficulty there was it's not like I could call Tom as a past executive director and say, hey Tom, what did you do in the situation? You know, there was nothing, no information to rely upon. So you know, you have to think on your feet and scramble. You have to think of what is best for the organization as a whole. Not just, you know, you have to keep your staff safe, but you also have to protect the seniors as well. So there was a lot to consider. But I'm really proud of the staff, and but it also I proved to myself that I could get through this and make the right decisions also. So it, you know, that when you have these types of challenges in your life and you're able to get through them, you know, you can take that as a lesson of resilience and strength, and you know, it gives you the confidence to move forward and to handle you know, other difficult situations that you will come upon in life.
Has your experience at UIKI changed how you understand what belonging to a community means to you? Has the experience changed how you look at other places besides Japantown?
Yes. You know, this community is very special, I have to say. You know, like I've lived in London Valley, Blossom Valley, even Proshora Hill, up in San Francisco. You know, but I think the key thing is if you want community, you have to be part of that community. And what being part of that community means being active in that community. So you can't sit back and hope that community comes to you. You have to seek it. And because once you do something for your community, be a neighborhood cleanup or bench cleaning or join an organization within your community, that's what's going to give you the connection. And you know, that's where my connection is, because of the people, excuse me, and organizations that I've connected with. And because I don't think I would feel the same way. And you know, I look at it because in San Francisco, where I live now, there I don't do, you know, community type events, and you know, it's a no wonder I don't have that sense of community there, and it's because, you know, I'm not connecting in the same way, you know. And you know, volunteering people are just like, volunteering. But volunteering will give you that sense of community and connection I think people are looking for. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Andrew, you're muted.
I bet. Yeah. Since you have worked in Japantown for so long, how would you like? Do you have any concerns about the future, or yeah, and do you want it to stay the same, or like do you want it to change, or like yeah, what do you think about the future of Japantown?
Yeah. Well, as much as you know, would I like it to stay the same? No, there's always like a little bit of nostalgia, right? From like when you're a kid, and those are happy memories. But I think we would be naive to believe that anything would change the same. The other thing is, you know, just in life, right? Everything, that's the only thing constant in life is change. And hopefully the type of change that is made is progress. One of the things that I would like to see is, and Tom is very familiar with this, is finding a way to sustain our community in a sense where our community makes significant investments in trying to basically financially be able to keep properties within Japantown to either nonprofit organizations or to organizations themselves, or it's like a Japantown type of organization. And I've been actually giving this more thought because there's a house that recently came on the market that has been abandoned, or not really abandoned, but empty for a long time, and it's come up for sale. And I was thinking, gosh, it was a shame that the family did not consider leaving this to either the museum next door so the museum could expand, or leaving it to a nonprofit within Japantown so we could keep it in Japantown. And you know, that I wish I had the money to just buy that house and to do something, you know, good for the community with that. But but I think that creates you know, the idea, which could be a seed for the future.
Mhm. So Allison or Andrew, do you have any other questions?
I don't have any more questions.
How about you, Andrew?
No, I don't.
Well, Jen, do you have any questions for us? As long as they're not too difficult.
Well, let me ask. I just want to put this out to Allison and Andrew.
Mhm.
You know, knowing or I guess my question would be, are you connected to the community that you live in?
I'll answer first for this one. So in the community that I live in right now, I feel like I moved abruptly around 4 years ago, and I feel like I lost the sense of community I used to have in Los Angeles.
Mhm.
It was in Korea. Oh, sorry, audio disconnect. It was in Koreatown, and I feel like everyone there was like really well connected, and like it felt like family no matter where I went around there.
Yeah, it's a great feeling, right? You could have that too in Japantown. Here. Yeah, I used to live in LA also. I've lived all over. So yeah. How about you, Andrew?
I come from Myanmar, and like the community I belong to was like essentially my neighborhood, cause like we, I kind of meet like all the people there are pretty young, like same age as me. We go to the same school, so like we meet every day and also like on the weekends. And yeah, I think that's why like we feel pretty connected. We play like football on the streets, and yeah, everything like yeah, if anything happens, like we gossip about it at school and yeah, everything. So like my classmates are essentially like my neighbors. So I would say that I feel pretty connected, and yeah, I feel like belong to that community.
Great. Great, that's great.
Yeah. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Allison and Andrew. It's always really nice to learn more about anybody. But Jen, thank you so much, because UI Kai is very lucky to have you, because you've gone through all sorts of different things and experiences. And when you were first talking about all these different jobs you had at UI Kai, oh, maybe that's just the way they set up that place. Because I had all sorts of kind of, I won't call them odd jobs, but different kinds of jobs, taking the garbage out, whatever it was,
Yeah, I did
cleaning
take the garbage.
bathrooms. But you are a very unusual person, and I I'm just speaking for myself. It seems like this fits a lot of the issues that your class, Allison and Andrew, is trying to look into, belonging and how you connect, or because it's just really fascinating when you talk to us. And Allison and Andrew, if you have time, which I know you're all both very busy, but visiting UI Kai, I wish we could have done that in your class, and maybe we still can, or some other time, because it's an interesting place. It really is.
Yeah, please, I think Tom can pass on my information if you would ever like to come here and either volunteer, or if you just like a tour, we can always arrange that for you.
Yeah.
We
Thank you.
have a lunch service and a daycare, adult daycare, as well as other activities that happen here.
Mhm.
And you're welcome to participate in them as well.
Yeah, and it's going to be the 50th anniversary of UI Kai, so it's pretty kind of mind-boggling, huh, Jen? I mean, wow, a long
Yes.
time it's been around.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it too is that people are like, wow, 50 years, and I'm just like, I know, but the thing is, inside, I mean, I feel a little bad because I get to be the ED that falls on the 50th year, but there's all these EDs that came before me
Mhm.
that did these amazing things, so that way we can actually celebrate it today. So I have to, my success is resting on your shoulders, Tom.
No, I don't think I did that much. But I'm just so happy that your UI Kai is where it's at. So yeah, so you, Allison, Andrew, if you have a chance, come visit, because I think gives you a good feeling of the community. So
Yeah.
so Jen, oh, did Andrew or Allison, you have anything else you'd like to say?
I just wanted to say thank you to Jen for allowing this interview to happen.
Yeah, I would like to say thank you to
You're
Tom
very
too.
welcome, and thank you also for participating in this. And I do
Yeah.
hope you have a chance to come out to Japantown and UIK. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Well,
I'll be sure
yeah.
to go.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
And
Okay.
yeah, please take care then.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Bye, Jen.
Bye.